Hello, I'm Leonie from Lifestyle Barbecues. Today we're going to be showing you a special dish, perhaps a dish that you might like to cook on a special occasion or maybe just for a special treat, because today we are using green lobster. What we're going to be doing firstly is poaching them in a liquid, and then we're going to char grill them on the barbecue with some lovely garlic butter. The way we're going to cook the lobster today, now we could put it straight on the barbecue, but this is a quicker approach, and you make sure that the lobster is cooked through properly without burning the lobster. It also gives it a lovely flavour. So what we're doing is using the wok burner, which is specifically designed for the lifestyle barbecue, and we can simply then transfer our lobsters immediately onto the plate. The poaching liquid is made up of simply water and any aromatic vegetables, like today we have celery, leek, fennel, carrot, onions, garlic, cut up a lemon, some peppercorns, and we've simmered that to the boil. The other important thing about this broth is to make it quite salty, like the sea, and I've also put a little bit of sugar in there to balance out those flavours. So we're going to put the lobster tails into that broth for approximately 6 to 8 minutes. So we're just gradually and slowly poaching them. So I'm going to take that heat down to low and allow those to poach. The reason you want to take that broth down to a simmer is if you put it onto the boil, it will toughen the meat, because we don't want to shock the meat of the lobster. So the lobster tails now have been poaching for approximately 3 minutes. So we'll just give the little babies a turn over, just making sure that they're all submerged in the poaching liquid. So that's just been poaching away very slowly for about 5 minutes now, and I'm going to take them out. And what we'll do is just set them aside to cool down while we heat up our barbecue plate and prepare the lobster to char grill on the barbecue. Now the green lobster tails have been set aside and they've cooled just sufficiently enough for you to handle them. We're going to do the lobster tails today in 2 different ways. So the first way is just a simple grill. So to do that, we just take a very sharp knife and a tea towel, because these are quite sharp and prickly. You'll end up with cuts. So we're just taking the knife down from the tail to the main section of the piece of meat, and then just bringing these to the side. And they'll just sort of come off in your hand, the little pieces of shell, but you want to leave the back shell intact. Then what we're going to do is just with the back of our hand pressing down so that we get a flat surface, just break its back to grill, and that one's ready to go. So that should sit nice and flat on the grill plate. The next style of green lobster we're going to do today is I've completely emptied the shell. So this is what we want. We want to empty the meat from the shell. So once again, taking a sharp knife, starting this end of the tail, grabbing your tea towel, removing that back shell, bringing your thumbs up, just bringing that to the side. Then we're going to just peel this away. It's lovely and succulent, the meat, so it's coming away from the shell really easily. We just take that meat out, so we're left with a nice clean case, which we're going to use to put the lobster back into it. We're going to cut this lobster up into bite-sized pieces. Just put them in a little bowl. Now in here we've just got salted butter, an eshallot. Now if you don't have an eshallot, you can use any sort of onion. But eshalots are those tiny brown bulbs that you get in the supermarket. Look a little bit like a garlic, but they're in the onion family. The reason we use them for this sort of butter is because they're very sweet and very pungent. So they work really nicely in this. We've also got a little bit of garlic, so maybe 2 or 3 cloves. So the garlic has to be the predominant flavour too, and a little bit of dill following through on the herb. So we're just going to take a little bit of that, mix it up with the lobster meat. We're going to place it back into the shell, so that butter will caramelise, the flavours will go through that lobster, so you're using the lobster shell like a little serving plate. A great feature of a lifestyle barbecue is this wonderful serving tray on the side. On the right we had our wok burner, so we're just using the same space. So it's very handy. Before you put your food into the barbecue, you can just easily work from this space. So I've got the lobster tails that I'm just going to char grill. So I've got this up to about 200 degrees Celsius at the moment. And we're just going to pop them on. Now, we're basically now making them brown and coloured through. That's all we really want to do. And we'll just close the lid to keep that heat in. These lobster tails have been here now on the plate at 200 degrees Celsius for about 30 seconds or so. So I'm just going to check them. It's a good idea, just to make sure they're not sticking, you can actually just grab some cooking spray, some canola spray, just to make sure that they're not sticking to the tray. And they're fine. They're cooking away nicely. We'll leave them for another minute. Now keep in mind that the lobster tails were already poached in that beautiful poaching liquid. So we're heating these through and caramelising them and enriching the flavour. So with the garlic butter, just get a brush or a paintbrush and just give them a little basting with that butter, like so. Now these have been on just for about 2 minutes or so. You'll know that they're lovely and caramelised on the other side without burning. If you just give them a little bit of a lift and see if they're sticking or not. And they should come away, so they're not quite ready. So we're just going to give them a little bit of a tap on the back with the Lifestyle Barbecue spatula. Bring the heat into the main body of that tail. And we'll just close it about another minute. Okay, now these lobster tails should be ready. So just give another little, yeah, it's coming away from the barbecue beautifully. So take them off and see how they're lovely and caramelised, cooked through. Now for our other version of lobsters. Now of course, once you get used to the recipes in your barbecue, you can cook this at once. But for the sake of today, I just wanted to show you the process. So you could be cooking them side by side. So we're popping in, these are the filled lobster tails with the lobster meat, with the garlic and eschalot butter. And all we need to do is pop them in there. It's another great thing about the Lifestyle Barbecue. The lid stays where it should, doesn't fall on you. Now they take about 4 to 5 minutes to cook through. So we'll lift the lid after probably about a minute or so and just give them a little check and keep basting that lovely butter on the lobster tail. Prior to putting the lobster tails onto the barbecue, heat up your barbecue as hot as it can be. Then you're going to drop the temperature down by just taking out these outside burners today because we're using the centre plate. So now our lobster tails are done. We've looked in, the butter's sizzling away. Having this closed hood creates an oven. So let's just lift and see. They look fantastic. Just checking that it's cooked through. Now, perhaps my guests aren't seated at the table just yet. So this is where a Lifestyle Barbecue has these wonderful trays for keeping your food hot, getting it out of the way. I'm going to turn my burners all off. Just leave it open to let some of that residual heat come out because we're not actually cooking the lobster anymore. We don't want it overcooked. We're going to take that down, we're going to shut the lid in about 30 seconds a minute, drop it and just keep it, probably keep it to about 80 degrees, 100 degrees, and then you can serve when you're ready. So we're just plating up our lobster. Remember we had it on the heating tray, waiting for our guests to sit down. So now we're ready to plate up. We've got the lovely barbecued rock lobster in the centre and the 2 grilled lobster tails with garlic and shallot butter on the side. Today we're going to present this with just an orange salad. So I've simply segmented some oranges so they don't have the rind, they don't have any seeds. With the lettuce, just pop the juice over the top. A few lemon wedges. All I do is just get some lovely store-bought béarnaise sauce, dollop it so people can dig in. These lobster tails could be used as a part of a menu for Christmas, or you could use it as a part of a seafood menu, either as the main course or as an entree. If you look at some of the other recipes on our website, you'll see we have some lovely fish recipes that would team up really beautifully with the green lobster tails.